Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we will be solving a lab named Lumon Industries, which is a medium rated Active Directory challenge lab. And without any further delays, let's just get started into it. So, the scope and the objective is given. Meanwhile, I will just start the machine. I'll reset it. So, I'll do that. Yep, so the machine is starting. Meanwhile, I will read the scope and let's see what is there anything interesting for us. Lumon Industries will soon be integrating a high value employee into the organization. In accordance with internal security protocols, a comprehensive penetration test and internal access verification must be conducted prior to full onboarding. Okay. For the purpose of this evaluation, you will be provided the assigned credentials and access permissions corresponding to the subject employee. Your objective is to assess the scope and boundaries of these permissions, ensuring compliance with all human security standards. Okay, so meanwhile, this machine is getting started. We can see that there is two IPs given, which means that it is a multi-machine, and one is the intranet and the another one is the domain controller. Now let's see, meanwhile, let's just connect to the VPN as well. And I'll name this terminal as VPN. The shortcut you can use is Alt Shift and S. And I'll rename it as VPN, Control Shift T for new terminal, new tab, sorry. You can name it as, I'll be naming as scans just because I'll be running some scans over here in this terminal. And I'll create another terminal and I will just name it as terminal. Now let's try pinging the IP. If that works, we'll check the connectivity first. This could take around 3 to 5 minutes as it is mentioned, guys, because it is a Windows machine. And Windows being Windows, it takes times to load. Yep, so we are able to ping the IP, which means we are connected. And so I'll split the terminal into two. I'll use a shortcut Control Shift R. And one side of the terminal, I'll be running the scans for domain controller, and one side I'll be running the scans for the intranet. So I'll be using Rustscan, guys, and I just like to use Rustscan because it is fairly easy to remember the syntax and it gives the answer faster to me. Like the ports, it gives faster to me, so I like using Rustscan. You could probably use any of the scanning tool like Nmap. So I'll just copy the IP. First, I'll run the intranet on this side on the left. Rust scan. The syntax for Rust scan is Rust scan tag A specify the IP. Tag is for passing the answers to Nmap. And if you know your Nmap flags well, the dash capital A runs all the enumeration scripts at it. The same syntax I'll be copying it for the domain controller, and I'll just go ahead and copy the domain controller's IP and just paste it over there, and tag capital A. Now let's just hit enter here and hit enter here as well. So right away we can see that there is a port 80 open here, which means that there is a web server running. 135, 139 and 445 is for SMB. So this is definitely a Windows machine, as we already knew that, nothing specific. And we can see that 3389 port is open. So we can use this as well. Port 5985 is also open as well. Let's try NetExec for getting the domain name. So the syntax is SMB and NXC SMB and specify the IP. Just hit enter. It will give you the domain name as well as the name of the computer account. So the name is intranet and the domain is lumons.hacksmarter. Now, what I would like to see first is if we have any anonymous share access, are we able to see or list out any shares? Let's see. I'll specify tag U and tag P. We'll leave the password and username blank and write tag shares to list out the shares. Let's see if we can list shares anonymously, and if we can, we'll check for any interesting files or permissions. Let's see. Meanwhile, this is running. Let's just, okay. So error enumerating the share, error occurs while reading from remote. We have a status access denied, which means that we cannot list the shares anonymously. And we can also see that we have already been provided with the credentials. So this is the credentials. We'll just copy the username and the password as well. So it is this one. I'll copy it and paste it there. Let's see. Let's just list out the shares and see if we find anything interesting. We can probably also get all the users by the tag users flag. So it is loading, guys. Just let's wait for a minute or so. Yeah. So we can see that we have read and write permissions over MD repo. So before that, before seeing that uh, share, I'll just use the tag users to see what are the users present in this domain. I would like to list out the users here, and then meanwhile it is doing its job, I will just use SMB client and I'll change the IP as well. So it is 10 10.0.30.245, and the password for this account is this one right here. So I'll just do that, hit enter, and okay, we cannot list the users. No worries, guys. There must be some way or the other through which we can probably do something right here. Okay, I'll use Impacket's SMB client for this because there are things that you should try, because if we are not able to connect using SMB client, maybe this tool does not work there. We'll try with any other as well. So it is very important that you have alternate methods of doing things. So we'll just hit enter and we'll see the shares. So we use MD repo and do an ls. Okay, so we can see two files over here, guys. One is a .url extension file and one is a .pdf file. So I would like to copy them both onto my local machine. I'll just do mget start, which will copy out both the files. Meanwhile, it is doing its job. We also saw that there was a web server running on this. So we'll just copy the IP and go ahead and Control V. Let's see what web server is it. I'll just let that download for a minute or so. Let's wait and let's see if we have something interesting for the IP. It is taking a bit of time, guys. Okay. The .pdf file is a bit higher in size, I believe. Maybe that is why this thing. Okay, I'll just write get Lumons. I'll try downloading the PDF first, guys. Okay, so I get it why this thing is occurring. Maybe we haven't added this IP to our Etsy host file. Maybe that is why this error is occurring. I'll just fix it up. I'll just copy the domain and the IP and add it to my Etsy host file. So it is lumens.hacksmarter. I'll just copy that up and then head over to Etsy host, and then I will hit enter, specify the IP 10.0.30.245 and the domain, as well as we'll give it intranet dot, and then hit enter. And now let's try this one also again, and this as well. Yeah, so this was the thing, guys. This was the error. Now, one thing to look out for is we have credentials. Let's try if these are valid credentials for the web server. So the username is Helair, something like that. I believe I'm saying their name correct. And then I will copy the password as well. Yep. So these credentials are valid, guys. Now, one thing to I like to do it is running dir search or directory brute forcing. Maybe we can find something interesting. So I like to do that. So I'll just do that as well. And I'll create a new terminal for that. Okay, I'll just exit from here and try downloading it again. I'll run dir search over here. I'll let that run. And meanwhile it is running, I'll use list out the shares and use md repo and ls. I'll use the get command lumons underscore international.pdf. So as we can see, we do get a 403, which is the unauthorized code. Okay, so now this PDF file has been downloaded. I'll try the URL file as well. Let's see if that also works. Intranet. Hmm. I'll let that run. I'll create a new terminal. Control Shift T for new terminal, new tab, sorry, and Alt Shift S. I'll rename that this terminal as well and name it as terminal, guys. Now do an ls, and I would like to open the PDF file and see if there is anything interesting for us, guys. So, Lumon Industries International NX dossier, Seoul NX Division 7, fictional corporate document, and blah blah blah, something like that. And location and contact. Okay. Facility name, address, emergency line, primary phone number. And guys, one thing to look out for is usernames, as it can be very useful. You could probably use a tool named Kerberoot, and you can check for the user. You can use Kerberoot user enum and then check for the valid users. First, we can see that there is an organizational structure here given. So we have a director, head of cognitive ergonomics, data architecture lead, operation and facilities analyst, security and access. So we do have names here, which I will just use nano and create text for usernames.txt file and add these names over there. And I'll use a Python script which is available on GitHub, uh, username generator, and I'll use that to generate the uh, syntax for the usernames, and then we'll try the Kerberoot tool and see what are the valid usernames. So this is one path I can think of as of now. Maybe I'm correct or maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Let's see something more interesting if that is present here. Key programs, research areas, access and security protocols, shift structure. Okay, authentication, domain credentials. On the intranet sign in page, enter your username in this format. Okay, contact. So maybe we can try out this. I'll just copy this one out. Copy this. Try. Let's see if we have something interesting. Let's try test 1, 2, 3 for just the testing purpose. Invalid credentials. Yep, that was okay. So I was just seeing that do we get an error like password invalid or a username invalid? That would give us some or the other amount of information if that these credentials like the username or the password, either one of them we specified is correct or wrong. So one thing to note out for is the errors give you a lot of information. So it is very important that you look out for the errors as well and what is the error coming. So check for that as well. How to request access to admin and terminal panel access. Submit an access request via the Lumon's internal portal. COLNX. Okay. Access request. Request require manager approval. This is something that we can do, I think. COLNX. Hmm. Let's try. Let's try something else. Hmm. We do have valid credentials, so we'll just try entering that first, which is a liar, and the password I don't remember, guys, so I'll just have to copy it over there. So I'll just try copying this password. Our dir search is also completed as well. We'll have a look at that as well. So this is the panel. And let's see our door search. Do we have anything interesting? Which is, I cannot see anything interesting over here. In a 200 response, that's just one login panel. That's it. Okay, no worries. There must be some the other way. Let's check the source code as well. I'll do view page source and see if there is anything interesting, maybe some hard-coded credentials, which is very unlikely that we will find it over here because this is an medium rated machine, so I don't think it would be that simple. Remember, Lumon cares about your balance. Okay, nothing really interesting. Okay, one thing to check, I think, is if the credentials that we are provided with are valid on the domain controller as well. Let's try and check. Okay, our scans are also completed. Meanwhile, I'll just copy that domain controller's IP and see if our credential works on the domain controller. If it does, that is really a good sign, guys. I'll do NXC, SMB, and paste the IP, tag you, and credential is liar, and password is tag p, and the password will be uh, this one right here. I'll just copy that and try pasting it. Let's see if this is valid, guys. Yes, it is. So now, one thing that I can think of is running BloodHound. So, for those of you who do not know about BloodHound, I would like to say it about that Bloodhound is something like uh, Google Maps. I would like to think it as a Google Maps of Active Directory. It helps you to map out your attack paths. You can check if there are any users who have any interesting permission and or anything interesting resources accessible. We can use that. So it gives you a visualized picture, a graphical representation through which you can map out your attack path and see that from a compromised user how you can move and escalate your privileges. So I think the syntax is nxc ldap. NetExec has this thing that we can integrate Bloodhound here. nxc ldap will specify the username, password, and dash dash Bloodhound as a collection, and I'll do all, and I'll specify the DNS server as well, just so that it does not give any error in case 10.0.27.99. Meanwhile, I'll see if this works. What it does is it makes an LDAP queries, and yeah, this resolves the trust PS remoting, and in domain environment where EDRs and everything is enabled, you would not like to run something as collection all, just because in order to do some stealthiness and not be noisy, you would not like to do something as this one. You would use a collection method of stealth, and that would not raise any errors. But in this case, since we are doing a lab or a machine, so we can run this as well. Meanwhile this is running, I would also run on the intranet as well, which is 10.0.30.245, and username is Elair, and password is this one. Just a minute. Yeah, this one, and the okay. I gave it a SMB here. I just messed this up with SMB and LDAP. I just mess it up on the NetExec part, but rest syntax I do remember about this one, as we use Bloodhound a lot when doing the Active Directory machines. This is really helpful, guys. This tool is one of the best tool that I've come across, and I do use it on a daily basis when solving the Active Directory machines. And specify the DNS server 10.0.30.245. Meanwhile, I'll just wait and see if this is completed. Yep, so I would just move this one. I'll just move it to my current directory. Yep, and see. Yep, so it is moved here. This one, guys. Now I would start my Bloodhound. So I would use sudo Bloodhound. Before, it was a complex task to run Bloodhound. You had to pair up your Neo4j and do things of that nature. But now it is much easier. You can also use something known as the Bloodhound CLI, which is using a Docker container, which makes it a lot easier. I do use that one on my other machine, which is really helpful, as you do not need to go through this setup process of the Neo4j database and setting up the things of that sort. But here in this machine, my Bloodhound is already sorted, so I use this one. Okay, I don't use it on Chrome. I use it here, localhost. And one thing I would emphasize on, guys, is taking down good notes as well. Because I believe notes serve as your second brain, and if you do forget some things, which is obvious that we are humans, so we can forget things. So this makes it a lot useful when you take down notes. You could also get a similar kind of commands that you have to run on another machine that you are doing, or in an engagement where you have to do Active Directory pen testing. You can run into some uh, rabbit holes, but if you have done something before, you always remember, okay, something like I did this before, so you can do that as well. That is why I emphasize on taking notes. That has helped me a lot, taking down good quality notes. I use Notion. I prefer the Notion, but you can do it on any note taking app such as Obsidian or anything else as well. I'll just upload the file. HackSmarter, Lumon Industries, and this one is the one. Open, and I'll just hit upload. So this is ingesting. I'll just wait for this. That should not take long enough because it is a small Active Directory environment and not very large. So I think this should be done in a minute or so. Meanwhile, let's see that something can be done, I believe, with this. This is something interesting to look out for, guys. I feel something is fishy here, just because it is giving us how to request access to admin and the terminal panel, which is internal, where it does mention that request require manager approval, but we do have access request. So some hidden endpoint, I believe, not really hidden as sort, but some endpoint that would provide you access to the admin panel. Maybe, okay, something is given here. Okay, now, oh, I just wanted to see was there any credentials there. Meanwhile, I think Bloodhound should be done. Yep, so it is done. I would just go to explore, and our current user is Hillier. Uh, this one, and I've already marked him as owned. Okay, okay, it is already marked as owned. for us. Do we see any interesting groups that we are a member of? Hmm, certificate services, domain users, free windows, microdata refinement, inbound object control. Nothing really interesting of that sort. Let's see any cipher queries. We'll use something as all the Kerberos stable users. Let's see. No, nothing. Let's see any user that we can do an as rep roast. No, interesting. So we do not see any Kerberos stable user or any user that we can probably do an as rep roasting attack. Let's see the shortest path to systems for unconstrained delegation. I don't think that would be a attack path for this machine. That would be interesting thing to look out for, guys. And let's try running it on the intranet as well, which I don't think I doubt that might work or not, since this is an intranet, not a domain controller that we can probably utilize. Interesting thing. We can probably see something as the what are the users present, like Lumon.HackSmarter. Who are the domain users? Domain users. I would just like to see the users present here. We could probably find something interesting. Okay, so these are the users right here. Intranet SVC. So there is an intranet service account that we can see. Maybe something that we can see with this account seems interesting to me. Not this one, guys. Intranet SVC. This account seems interesting to me. So we do have an outbound object controller, guys. This account is something which I would like to capture on next is this one, because we can see that this has outbound object control over 6 accounts, and it has a force change password rights over these 6 accounts, which means that we can change the password of all these 6 accounts, which already, like the 6 account, we do have account access for Helier. So technically we have 5 accounts. We can change the password for all of them without knowing their current password. So this is an interesting account to capture, guys. Meanwhile, as I would not like to make this video very long, so I would like to make it a natural, this is a natural stopping point anyways. So what I want you guys to do is, from here, go ahead, try solving the machine on your own and see if you are able to solve the machine, guys. And if not, we will be solving this machine in the upcoming parts. And let's see, maybe we can solve it in around part 3 or 4, guys. Maybe, I'm not sure. Let's see, because we do feel that this is a natural stopping point. So I want to emphasize that taking notes and doing the machines on your own gives you a lot of confidence. You do learn by watching me, but you do learn a lot more by doing it yourself. So, guys, with that said, stay tuned for the next video, and the upcoming one will be soon. So, hope to see you in the next one, and do hit the subscribe, like, and do all the YouTube algorithms things, and do support the YouTube channel, guys. This means a lot. Your support means a lot to me, guys, because if we learn together, we will grow together. That is what I believe in. That we should do, learn, and grow together in our journey. Thank you, guys, and hope to see you in the next one.